This is Generations Connect.
And welcome back to the Generations Connect podcast by Council for Third Age and VintageRadio.SG. My name's Aloysius. I'm going to be the facilitator, and you know what? We've got two guests here, but a little bit more first. This is actually a podcast series where we invite our youths and our seniors to come together to share their views and insights so that we can get a better understanding of the different perceptions based on generations and even help bridge the intergenerational gap. So today we're going to be talking about cybersecurity and scams, but before we go into that, just to let you know, we've also got other topics with other people that includes childhood food, lingo, and music as well. So back to today's topic, right? It's cybersecurity and scams, and in front of us we have Mr. Brian Richmond from Vintage Radio.
Hey!
And Gizane, who is our intern from Temasek Polytechnic, spending her 6 months with us over at Vintage Radio.SG.
Hello.
So today we're going to talk about cybersecurity and scams. And, Brian, I'd like to throw this to you. What are your experiences when it comes to, scams and all this? What have you heard and what have you actually experienced?
I mean, as we enter into the digital world, along comes, some smart Alex who just want to take advantage of other people, by trying to take advantage in the sense that maybe if they can get hold of your passwords and all your what do you call this? Maybe intelligence.
Your data?
That's right. Yeah. So it just goes to show my age when we're talking about digitalization. And so the thing is, these people call in and try and get you at your most vulnerable, right? And then see if you can get hold of whatever information they need in order to scam you.
So, Brian, I'd just like to throw that to you to say, when you do get a call like that, what is your reaction? What do you usually do?
I basically found out that if you pick up a call with a 65 number.
A +65 number.
That's right, plus 65. That's, the call of, it's the Orion call of your scammer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So,
I was told about it.
Right. So you don't, basically you just don't pick up.
I don't pick up at all.
Ah.
But it began some time back when somebody actually called and I picked up, thinking it's an authentic call from a friend. Uh-huh. But, it sounded foreign. Mm-hmm. It didn't sound like anybody from Singapore.
Right.
So I had a little conversation with a guy.
Oh, so you had some fun with him lah.
That's right, But then my wife told me that if you're on the phone with that chap, for more than a couple of minutes, I suppose they can get hold of your data and what have you. So since then, whenever I see a 65 plus number, I refuse to pick it up.
Right. What about you, Gizane? What are your experiences with scams of this kind now coming in through the phones and all?
Well, I do have the same experience as Brian here. I do have scam calls sometimes, actually most of the times, but I don't pick
You're
up.
so famous.
I know, right? So I don't pick up the phone calls just like Brian do because, I don't want them to waste my time. Yeah.
Well, actually, I just want to add that if I do have time on my hands, which is quite seldom, I do pick up these calls and have fun with them.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, one day I'm hoping it could be somebody masking themselves as like the authorities or the police, right? And they say, oh, I've committed a crime and, if I don't pay for this, they're going to come and arrest me, right? So I'll probably invite them to come over and arrest me. Maybe find out like how many of you, maybe I can make coffee before you come so that we can have some coffee first. Then you arrest me. Then I have a few friends around who can take pictures lah. And then we can put it on social media. Wouldn't that be fun?
Wow, so much hospitality.
Yeah, I mean,
but wouldn't, the person be able to get into your data as you continue talking with him?
Personally, for me, I don't let loose any information. And what I usually do is that, if it's a regular call over the cellular network, I think that's pretty okay. So, I do entertain it once in a while just to keep, myself entertained sometimes. Well, okay, let's move on from, these scams. What about things like emails and, links and stuff like that? Gizane, what do you do with those?
Okay, so I used to have chain messages that were sent to me on WhatsApp, and in the chain message, the contents would be something about if you don't send this message to 10 group chats full of your friends and family, you will be cursed. That kind of messages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I used to be really gullible and I actually do send them. But eventually, after time passed, I realized that it's fake. So, I don't want to cause such unnecessary trouble to the people around me also. So I stopped sending these messages even when I received them. Yeah.
Now, what about you, Brian?
Well, back in the day, I remember messages like that, coming through, and saying that, they will be telling you something.
A sad story, maybe.
Yeah.
And they said that you have to send this to about 20 people.
So, the combined effort of all these people maybe saying a prayer together is going to help somebody recover.
That's right. This goes back a long time. It's nothing new.
Well, I think maybe if you look at it this way, it could have started with good intentions, but I think with technology nowadays, what it is that, they're trying to get, details about your group chat numbers and all this.
Yeah.
So, and nowadays, getting a lot of these messages really makes you want to throw the phone at the wall. What about links on emails? What do you do with them? What have been your experience, Gizane?
Well, I don't really receive much fishy links on emails, but I do see it on social media platforms such as Instagram. Huh? So sometimes when I'm browsing through videos, I can see this fishy links on the comment section telling you that you can get a pair of Nike shoes if you click on this link or something like that.
Right.
So I would usually just scroll past. I don't want
Nike
to get myself...
shoes, branded shoes, my dear.
I have Nike shoes. I wear them all the
What
time.
about branded clothes, branded hairdo,
I'm not so greedy for that.
Right. What about you, Brian?
I've gone past all that.
What about, touch this, you have just inherited $3 million.
Yeah. I never believe in all these things.
Too good to be true.
Try me. I tell you, if you can get anything, half of it through to me, it will be a miracle.
Well, okay, then let me put it to you this way. I mean, there are, emails and attempts for people masking themselves as, from agencies, recognized agencies, institutions and all this, right? So, how would you then tell the difference between what is a scam, what's likely a scam, and what is legit? What about, I'll start with you, Gizane. Well, let's say, for example, there's a link, right? And say, your email or your bank account has been compromised. It is likely that you are going to lose all your money. So can you click on this link and confirm that you are the correct account holder? What are you going to do?
Well, first I will have to check if the bank is actually telling me to do this. I'll check with my own bank to see if that my money is being compromised and everything first before I actually reply, or maybe I won't even reply to the email because that in itself
because you don't have much money in the bank.
That too, I guess. But I would want to make sure that I don't do something reckless on impulse before actually fully checking the whole truth.
Right.
Yeah.
So you try to call the bank.
Try to call the bank first, yes.
What about you, Brian? I mean, you would have millions
sometime
of dollars in your bank
no.
account.
Dream on, Mr. Richmond. And something like that happened, know. And what I did was just go to my bank and check with them.
So you physically go to the bank?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't take chances, especially when it comes to money.
Yep.
Right. So you actually go to the branch or the bank and you go, I'm Mr. Richmond. You send me this one. Did you send me this one? Are you sure? So you actually
I
take
will
the trouble
not.
to go to the
I
bank.
will not fall into a trap like that.
Right,
for someone to actually tell me a lie and say that, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen.
But sometimes what they do is they play on the part that they try and make you like panicky, and on the spur of the moment you just go click and all that, right? So I suppose it is also very much like what you are doing, calling the bank, trying to verify. But there are other things that you can do also, like look at the link itself, the URL, how it is put together, like whether if it is actually legitimate. Does it look actually, let's say, like if it's Vintage Radio, right? It should be VINTAGERADIO. But, if you see VIN.TAGE/RA-DIO, then you know that it's probably fake.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so if I were to touch on a few things, right, what would you advise, in terms of keeping yourself safe from, falling into scams and doing the wrong thing? Brian?
what would I do? In the first place, I would avoid all these things.
Right.
Right.
But you can't run away from digital. I mean, you're online.
Yeah. No, I'll maintain whatever needs to be done. But I will not fall prey to any of these scams that come across, If the moment I feel, if there's something fishy, I'll just ignore, all the
temptations.
That's right. Just ignore it and get on with life. But I'm one who's not easily, taken for a ride.
So you're not so gullible, lah.
It is, yeah.
Wow, good for you. All the experience.
Yes, carries with it experience.
Okay, so from one very experienced person to one with some experience. Gizane, what would your advice be? Well,
just as I've said before, I would double check and triple check before I actually do something. But I would actually remember for example, if a police called me saying that I did a crime.
Somebody say that they are the police.
Yeah, and they called me saying that I did a crime, or committed a crime. I would actually think, did I actually did something like that? First, just refresh my memory and make sure that, what they said is true or false before I actually act. Yeah, because I feel that most of the times us humans tend to be more reckless and impulsive than actually stepping back and thinking calmly and rationally before acting on something. So I feel that a good advice would be to think before.
So don't be kanchong spider lah.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, that's an interesting term, kanchong spider.
Kanchong.
Yeah,
yes. Is that his first name?
That could be. So I suppose if I can distill it, really is very much, from what you're saying is, to think rationally, not to rush, not to be impulsive, not to be, scammed into, oh my God, did I do this? Think before you do lah.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing is also to realize that, especially with experience, nothing in life is free.
Yeah.
And, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so Brian and Gizane, let's talk a little bit about cybersecurity as well, right? So, do you use free Wi-Fis?
Well, for me personally, I have my cellular data, so I'll use that instead.
So you will do what people call as tethering, lah.
Yeah.
Right? So if you need to use your laptop, you just put my
phone
in between that, and then you don't have to use free Wi-Fi. What about you, Brian?
I don't at all, unless if I'm forced to because of work or whatever.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, I won't be playing around with all these all these
you won't
things.
be using free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I think that's good because the one thing about free Wi-Fi is that again, it's very much like if it's nothing in the world is free lah.
Yeah.
So if you really find that you do need to use free Wi-Fi and you've run out of your data, let's say your cellular data, what would you, Gizane, what would you recommend?
Well, I feel it would be great if we don't have to use the free Wi-Fi because there's a lot more threats.
Well, let's say, okay, you're at a cafe.
Right?
And it's a well-known cafe. It's a branded cafe. Spending all your money on coffee. But, you're there and they offer you free Wi-Fi with a password. So would you use that?
I mean, if it's certified, sure. But I would rather go to a more, how should I say this? If I have to do work at somewhere, I would choose the CC, the community club, to do my work instead because the Wi-Fi there would be more certified in a sense.
Right. So anything with a lock sign, lah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And for Brian, you basically
I don't need to.
Yeah.
If I have to work, I work from home.
No, that's right. Or you work from here, lah.
Yep, that's right.
Cool. Well, cybersecurity also includes things about knowledge on scams and all this, right? And I think the other part of it really is, who would be asking for your personal information and when can you actually share that? So let's say, for example, if you received a call and they needed to verify your particulars, how would you handle that?
Well, first of all, if they called you, they would know who they're calling, right? So if they ask me for my name, I'll ask them, don't you know my name? You called me with my number. Yeah, so I will ask them that first. And if they still say it's protocol, I guess for me, since I'm still young in terms of experience, I'll probably ask my parents first before I sought to answer this phone call.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian? If
I will not give anything away. I will not divulge any of my, secrets to any of these people.
Your personal information.
Yeah, I will not give away personal information to any Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Okay, well, here's another question I'd like to ask you. It's got to do with cybersecurity in the sense, your knowledge and all, right? Every 2 years or so, I suppose you would be looking to upgrade your phones and maybe, upgrade your laptop, Gizane, especially for you since you're in school, doing a lot of media and all that, right? So when you're doing that, when you upgrade your phone, let's say, do you just hand over your phone and then get a new phone and go, "Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo, I'm so happy I've got a new phone, let's play with it"? Or would you advise people to be a little bit more careful?
Well, for me personally, I actually keep my old phones, so I don't trade it.
Also, you're a hoarder.
I guess, old memories can't bear to just give them away.
Right. So you want to show your kids and say, "This is what mommy used as a phone last time."
Yeah, I do have my first phone actually. It's a LG phone. It's a button phone.
It's a candy phone.
Yeah, kind of. Yes, a flip phone and all that. So I still have it. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, but I feel that if you want to trade your phone, maybe it's best if you wipe out all your data first before you give it to someone, a stranger who you don't know, to handle it. Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
Well, in my household, you won't believe this. It's a hand-me-down situation, right? Like when my son buys a new phone, he upgrades.
And then he goes, "Papa, here's mine."
No, he goes to the mother.
Oh.
The mother.
And then
mommy's phone comes to Papa, finally. So there you have it. So it's a hand-me-down situation at our household.
But okay, well, Brian, you being the last person in the chain, right? So when you get a new phone from your wife, which is actually an old phone, 2 times round, what do you do with your existing old phone then? Do you throw it in the trash, keep it in your cupboard, or
I just leave it.
Leave it at home
for my wife to decide what to do with it.
Right. So the minister.
Why bother yourself?
Right. So she's the Minister of Home Affairs.
That's right.
I see. Okay. Well, that's a good way to go about it.
That's
put the
nice.
responsibility on some people. But it's good. It's good that Gizane, you thought about it, because what we tend to forget is that we've got all the digital footprint, all our lives and things that we store on a hard drive, be it on the phone or on your laptop, right, or computer, or for that matter, hard drives and thumb drives. So, you happen to lose something, but really it's actually losing some important data, especially if you keep stuff there, bank account details and all that. So really it should be good practice that before you get rid of any storage device, that you totally wipe it.
Yeah.
No, just quick question. How do you wipe your thumb drive?
I personally have not wiped out my thumb drive because I'm still using it. And I only have one. But I guess you could bring it to an IT store and ask them to wipe it out for you, but you be there in person to see that they actually do wipe it out for you.
Right.
Yeah, that's coming from me, a non-IT expert.
Well, I'm not an IT expert, but I would suggest that, you put it near some strong magnets that could wipe it out.
Or burn it.
Well, not very environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
Environmentally friendly, that is. You can also probably use a software on your laptop to actually wipe out, or as they call it, a reformat.
Yeah.
Right. So learn this word: reformat the drive.
Reformat the drive.
Yeah, reformat the drive.
Yeah. So you're literally like going, using the laptop or your computer and say, okay, I want to, start from scratch. So delete everything, remove everything. I just want to have a clean drive. Something like that. Of course, I do have to caution that some really good hackers would still be able to, try and dig up some stuff from there. But, in our plebeian cases, probably not. Unless, of course, Brian, your millions of dollars.
Dream on.
Okay, what about this? When you talk about cybersecurity, right? One of the things that we do make use of a lot is actually password. And, for me, I used to use just one password for everything, right? What about you, Gizane?
Most of my passwords are the same, but it differs to a certain extent. So some of my numbers are different on other passwords.
Right.
Yeah, but it's fundamentally the same. Yeah.
Oh, you just let go of you just let go of some secrets. What about you, Brian? Do you?
Well, I maintain one particular password for all my calls at home and, anything to do with domestic affairs and all that.
Right.
That's one password. But when it comes to work, I've got another password.
Well, conventional wisdom suggests that you need to have a password or passwords that are different, and it is fine to have, one password, but variations of that for different kind of accounts or users and all this. But it's also very good to actually think about using a mixture of big caps, small caps, numbers, digits, and all this kind of stuff, right? So kind of mix it up a little bit so that, it's not so predictable. And of course, please don't use your birth date, your boyfriend or girlfriend or wife's date of birth, stuff like that, Those are easily guessed, and usually a lot of people will start with those. So that's another thought to think about, when it comes to your passwords. And of course, don't share with people. Keep it somewhere. But Brian, I would just like to put it to you because, at your age and for me in my coming years, we would probably tend to forget.
Yeah.
So what would you, do, or what would you suggest doing when it comes to, your own personal passwords and all this? And
Well, I've got a little area in my wallet where I keep things like my passwords and also even, my mobile number and all that.
Right.
Because sometimes I can't, when somebody says, hey, what's your mobile number? I can't remember because I don't call myself.
Well, Brian, for that, I would suggest that, if they ask you for your mobile number, you say, why don't you give me your mobile number? I'll call you and you have a missed call. Right. So that's safe. But, I would suggest that perhaps you not keep stuff in your wallet because somebody can steal your wallet.
Or can go
and then they
missing.
will have access to your $2 in the bank account.
Yeah, but they won't know what that is all about because it will be written, but it will not say, this is my password.
Right. It's actually coded.
It's coded.
Oh.
So
Da Vinci Code kind of like...
Yes. They can try and figure it out
You
for
the man.
themselves.
You the man.
Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool.
What about you, Gizane? I mean, one day you will be old and you will forget.
Eventually, I'm forgetting now also. But I do actually write down my more important passwords and store it in some secret place in my house.
That only you know.
Yes.
And what if you forget that?
Well, then let it be. No, I'm just kidding. I guess it's better to remember and memorize your passwords. Maybe the more important ones.
Right.
Yeah, that it doesn't get completely lost.
Yeah.
I mean, passwords are important, so it's better to just be the only one to know it. Yeah.
Okay, Brian and Gizane, right now, I'm going to have a little game with you guys. I'm going to test you. To see whether if you are
What are the prizes?
The prizes, we'll talk about that.
Surprise.
Yes, it's going to be a surprise. Question number 1, and you can discuss. I'd like the both of you to kind of think of it and then come up with the correct answer. Then it's either you win or you don't laugh.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. First question. Which of the following is not a method to protect yourself from scams? Again, it is to ask you which is not a method to protect yourself from scams. Okay, so choice A, not answering calls starting with +65. Choice B, avoid using public Wi-Fi networks to access bank accounts or log into websites that require sensitive personal information. Point C, not opening suspicious texts, pop-up windows, or click on links or attachments in emails or SMS. And D, sharing personal information like credit card details to unidentified personnel over the phone. Now remember, we're looking for the answer that is not a method to protect yourself from scams.
I think it's D.
Yeah,
Is that
D.
right?
Yeah, because the first three choices had not in them. So
Correct.
Right,
Correct.
spot on.
That's cool.
And you pass your English test too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to question number 2. Which one of the following is an example of phishing? And mind you, it's not the fish and the rod and all that.
Fishing.
Right.
Initially, I thought it was.
Pay attention now, Brian. Now, again, which of the following is an example of phishing? All right. A, an email warning the recipient of a computer virus threat. B, a malicious email directing the recipient to forward the email to friends. C, an email directing the recipient to enter personal details on a fake website. And D, an email directing the recipient to download a suspicious attachment.
Seems tricky. Do you know the answer?
A?
Which of the following is an example of phishing?
Yeah.
So you're going with A.
I'm going with A or C.
C.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's C because, phishing is something where they will lure you to put in your personal information on some fake website and then try to get it out of you,
Okay, well, that's 2 down and 2 correct.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Well done.
All right, last question. Either you get it all correct or you get a blemish on your record.
Go and stand in the corner.
What are good password practices? What are good password practices? A, use a complex password that contains uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and even special characters. B, not using the same password for different accounts. C, using two-factor authentication, or as they call it, 2FA, if available. D, all of the above.
We just been through this just now,
Yeah.
right? Good password practices.
I would say it's A.
A, which is to have uppercase and lowercase, right?
Lowercase, and all the little.
Yeah, but C also, the two-factor authentication one is pretty right because you
So
need.
tricky.
Yeah, it'll be more secure if you have probably a password and a face recognition or something. Yeah, then you'll be more secure. So I feel since there's 2 good answers, won't it be all of the above?
Okay, I'll go with you on that. Yeah?
I mean, I'm just doing elimination process since
Okay.
there's 2 good answers.
I think that's how she passed the exams.
C, yeah?
No, it's D actually.
D.
All
All
D,
of the above.
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
the above.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because, that's how she passed her exams. Process of elimination.
Process of elimination is good.
Yeah.
But
I'll agree with it.
seriously, the thing is this, two-factor authentication is actually one of the most utilized nowadays where, you key in your password, right? And then they'll send you something to a device or, have you confirmed that you are who you are.
Yeah.
So it's just like kind of, double protection as they call it.
Yeah.
Right? So that, it's harder for people to fake.
So what's the answer?
D, all the above.
Got
So
it.
3 out of 3.
Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations. And your prize is that you can go for lunch now.
I just ate.
Okay, so, you pass with flying colors, and I hope that, you're not going to be victims to scams and phishing attempts and all this.
No
and,
way.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, but really the thing is this, right? Technology has advanced so much and it's really getting hard for everyone, young and old, to keep up with it. So really it's keeping yourself up to date, up to speed, and learn to really protect yourself, right? And also, it's important for you to learn more about cybersecurity, its development, stay in touch with it, And, at least for a lot of seniors really is learn more, continue learning, right? And don't be afraid of cybersecurity. It's like, not going out just because you're afraid, right? Okay, so before we go, Brian, I'd like to maybe ask you to share your thoughts to fellow seniors, perhaps, when it comes to phishing, scams, cybersecurity. What are your thoughts? What's your advice to
The
them?
thing is not to be afraid of all that and keep yourself locked up at home, and avoid, anything to do with the digital world. The thing is, go out, experience life, But just be careful of the pitfalls. It's just like, you're going into town.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to make sure that, you adhere to all the things that need to be...
So observe all the things like if you're
That's
going out,
right.
Put on your mask, proper distancing,
keep
all this, right?
keep a social distance from people.
Yeah, so
Put on a mask where need be.
same for cybersecurity,
Same.
Go online, but
That's
be
right.
aware, learn,
That's right.
and
That's
don't be
right.
kanchong spider lah.
Yeah. Right.
What about you, Gizane? What are your thoughts to all the younger ones, especially? I mean, you are all digital natives.
That's true. I just want to say that even if it doesn't matter if we're young or old, we'll all fall to cyber threats and all these possible scams and phishing. I just want to say that to all of us alike, we should always think twice, not act too rashly and impulsively. And I think that's the only way we can really protect ourselves. Yeah.
Well, that's some really good thoughts there, Gizane and Brian. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us.
Pleasure.
Once again, we'd just like to invite everybody that if you find this podcast useful, perhaps you would like to share it with your friends and your family members as well, and help to bring them up to speed, especially when it comes to knowledge about cybersecurity and scams, right? And once again, we've heard from Brian Richmond as well as Gizane. And myself, I'm Aloysius. And before I go, just to leave you with this website that you can visit, and it's a legit website. The URL is www.scamalert.SG, and that is by the National Crime Prevention Council. So you can go there and look up for what are the latest when it comes to reported cybersecurity scams and phishing attempts. Now, if you want to do more actually and learn more about cybersecurity, stay more aware, and how you can stay safe online, you can actually go and take up related courses that are available on the C3A website. All right, the URL is www.c3a.org.sg. So you can actually take up courses to learn more about cybersecurity and how you can stay safe, and maybe from there help keep your family members and your friends safe as well. Be an ambassador. And if you think that this podcast is useful, we do have other podcasts coming up along the way. So please come to VintageRadio.SG, go to listen in, and look out for our podcasts. Thank you, Gizane and Brian.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Generations Connect.